Galatians 5 verse 18. But if ye be led of the Spirit, ye are not under the law. As stated yesterday, mercy is a person who has the character of God. It is considered and connected during fasting. When you implement biblical truth, whether it's a 1/10 or giving to the poor, causing their own financial difficulties, this is your persecution. But at the same time, it's our best chance. Let your character transform without prompting. For when persecuted for righteousness, these unique meanings create unique persecutions. Like evangelism, there will be a unique compulsion to evangelize. Fasting for faith, there will also be the unique persecution of fasting. In the face of these pressures, by knowing truth and goodness, your heart will change. If you haven't experienced these things, your heart naturally doesn't know how to think in that direction. That is, a person who has never experienced hunger or cold, how can we change places? In my case, when I was persecuted, I changed my mindset. As in the face of the hydrogen peroxide incident, I also changed my mentality, but this mentality, no one can teach me. It's about me adjusting to where I'm coming from, decide how to face my church and future. In fact, the way, triggered by righteousness, have unique character requirements. If you get along well with yourself, you can quickly master the character. And when you decide to take that personality, become a permanent choice in your life, your character, a miracle ensued, then the test is done. Whether I encounter a miracle, begin to call the position, heal the patient, or to be able to preach endlessly, that's why. Why don't you repeat the sermon? People don't want to do it. Can't even be determined? Because they tried and found they couldn't do it. To put it simply, I know a lot of seminarians, after they had preached a few sermons, they became arrogant. He claims to be the best sermonist in the universe. They only shared 8 out of 10, I could share it forever. Whether it's a pastor, a seminarian, all think so. Why did they come after? Is it reasonable to avoid preaching without repeating? Because they've run out of ideas. After all, when the persecution came, what would you do with yourself? This is the crux. Often, in that moment, people don't know how to handle themselves, need help to take the next step. Even with all this persecution, may lead to embarrassment, lack, problems, difficulties, etc., but the truth is, you can adjust your attitude, such as rising to the challenge of being flexible. For all to see, I am ever-changing. When there's a problem, not only do I manage to overcome and think, I don't feel lost, finally, the difficulty was solved. Like I said, even though God was in the same situation, He will do the same with Himself. Why does God give you trouble? Because He wants you to have a character you've never had before. If you never had that difficulty, never having to have a corresponding character, decision, or persistence, in this way, your life is like a block of wood. That explains, why are there so many truths that are difficult to enforce. Its purpose is not to torture or harm us. Like why God designed it, the most significant human desire, the driving force, even what is entirely out of control is sexual desire. And yet He asks us not to commit adultery, no premarital sex. For what God sees, it's your attitude when you're holding on. What's more, you'll change places. God, in this case, what will He do with Himself? But we never think about it that way, because we have despised the truth, and the whole faith. After all, faith doesn't speak for itself. Your life is meant to be like God, and learn all kinds of things. Why do people of different ages, are you afraid of certain things? And why is there a particular attraction, drive and harness all our thoughts? In fact, this is all deliberately designed by God. Like some people in their teens and 20s, can have high-quality, firm faith, but in their 30s and 40s, but backed away by a different kind of temptation. Some people have good faith in their 30s and 40s, but in their 40s and 50s, they lost that momentum, to pursue food and clothing, prepare for retirement, no more faith. Why does God set birth, old age, sickness, and death for life? Even with birth and death, it is an endless supply of needs, desires, and passions. After all, but in the face of these difficulties, can take God's decision, come be our response or reaction. Galatians 5 verse 18. But if ye be led of the Spirit, ye are not under the law.
佢點解要你遇困難？因為佢要你產生一個你以前從來冇嘅性格。你唔遇呢個困難，你永遠唔需要有呢個性格，你唔需要有呢個決定，你唔需要有呢個堅持。咁你人生咪好似咁木咁樣喺度咯？咁所以點解先至有咁多難執行嘅真理啫嘛
？Turning my frown, I persist in righteousness and truth, finding solutions, adapting anew. With bravery as my guiding light, I'll overcome challenges with all my might.In persecution's shadow, I will stand tall, believing in miracles. I won't let myself fall.
為義引發咗嗰個道德有要求嘅性格，喺嗰度你能夠自處得好呢，短時間你能夠掌握嗰個性格，而永久將呢個性格變成你嘅人生嘅選擇，即係你品格。神蹟就嚟啦，即係嗰個 test 就完咗㗎啦。
Doesn't ever say goodbye. Persistent faith, believe in miracles to come. I'll keep pushing forward.